first, Occupy activists are vowing to expand their protests this week with an eye toward disrupting the Iowa caucuses next week. They're hoping to hurt the GOP, but how will it look to the rest of the country that prominent Democrats like President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, are supporting a movement that's trying to disrupt the democratic process? Let's ask BigGovernment.com's Andrew Breitbart, who's been following the Occupy movement right from the beginning. So, Andrew, first of all, what are their plans?
Well, yes, it's to go to the Iowa caucuses and to Occupy. But I, first of all, at the end of the year, would like to thank you for being so consistently following the Occupy movement, just as it looks like it's dead, because in Occupy San Francisco, Oakland, New York, and D.C., they've cleared out their central locations. Occupy is alive and kicking and doing precisely what it was intended to be, and that is to be the re-elect Obama campaign, period. And the same group of people for the same purposes, but who did not have Occupy as a name back in 2008, did the same exact thing they plan on doing in Iowa at the Republican National Convention in St. Paul, where two men, part of this group called the GOP Welcoming Committee, occupied outside, protested against the police, protested against the delegates. It was an anti-democratic movement, just as the Occupy movement is. And two guys are in federal prison because they were planning to use Molotov cocktails on the police and the delegates.
If they do that, I mean, if they turn the Iowa caucuses into bloody riots, there is going to be hell to pay, because the majority of Americans are going to look at that, even Democrats are going to look at that and say, first they disrupted private property, that even pissed off a lot of liberal Democratic mayors. Then they try to disrupt the democratic process. There couldn't be a more anti-democratic movement in the country if they do that.
Well, I'm not suggesting that they're going to go violent in Iowa. But there are violent elements within Occupy. There are radical sure. elements within Occupy. And I'm saying that if it gets down to it, as it's coming towards the election, as this mobile Occupy group that can be anywhere, which means it can be in Tampa, Florida, protesting against Republicans. If they see the potential that Barack Obama is losing in the polls, it would not surprise me that they would step up the violence.
But it would surprise me if President Obama and his cadre of re-election experts would think that that would be helpful in any way to the president's re-election chances. And yet, he is on record, not only the president, but Nancy Pelosi, in support of the Occupy movement. Let's just play a couple of those clips.
The protesters are giving voice to a more broad-based frustration about how our financial system works.
And God bless them for their spontaneity. It's an independent people coming. It's young, it's spontaneous, it's focused, and it's going to be effective.
Well, a statement like "God bless these people who are disturbing the democratic process in Iowa" is going to come back to bite these guys, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. But I think that a lot of these people are tone deaf, and what they're trying to do, not just to show, not to just become a presence, they're also there to neutralize the Tea Party and to intimidate the Tea Party. If Occupy can be so mobile and deaf that it can just show up at any place where Republicans are going to be, whether it be at the Republican National Convention, protesting, somehow intimating these people don't have a right to protest, or being at the Occupy caucuses to disrupt or intimidate people, what they're trying to do is scare the little old ladies that go to the Tea Party to say, hey, I don't want to get involved in something where I could potentially be injured.
Absolutely focus it like a laser beam. So, Andrew, you are saying that the Democrats, the leading Democrats leading the re-election campaign of the president, want to use the Occupy movement as a power play against the Tea Party. That is playing with fire, is it not?
That's exactly what it is. That's what it's always been. And this is the organized left. Acorn does the same thing. SEIU does the same thing, and they've gotten like bears in a city. You know, they go in at night and they grab food from the trash can. These people have gotten so comfortable protesting and the media not covering it that Acorn, SEIU, Occupy are going to people's homes and knowing that the press is going to let them get away with it. They're trying to intimidate the Tea Party and average Americans from protesting or showing their displeasure with this administration and the Democratic Party in control.
All right. Well, Andrew, as you very generously suggested at the beginning of the show, we have covered this from the beginning. We're not going to stop. It's easy to dismiss these guys because some of them seem like such lunatics, but some of them have very serious agendas that we have to take very seriously, and we will continue to do so with your help. Andrew Breitbart, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, David.
Well,